Today, I'm going to explain Everything Everywhere All at Once, a 2022 American science fiction and drama film. The film begins with Evelyn Wang, a Chinese-American middle-aged woman who is having a hectic morning. She double-checks receipts from her laundromat business because the IRS is auditing its tax return, and she has an appointment with the auditor this afternoon. Wayman, her husband, wants to talk about divorce, but she seems too preoccupied to listen, so he ends up doing housework instead. Joy, their daughter, arrives at the house with her girlfriend Becky. Evelyn intends to accompany her father, Gong Gong, to the auditor appointment this afternoon, leaving Joy and Becky at home to prepare for Gong Gong's party later tonight. Customers arrive at the laundromat before Evelyn can sit down, so she goes there to serve them. Overburdened, she asks Wayman for assistance, while Joy attempts to convince her to bring Becky to Gong Gong's party tonight and introduce her to him, but Evelyn tells her to let Gong Gong enjoy his party. While Wayman is preparing Gong Gong's breakfast, Evelyn introduces Becky as Joy's good friend rather than her girlfriend. Joy is devastated by those words and storms out of the laundromat. Evelyn, Wayman, and Gong Gong attend the IRS auditor appointment. Wayman acts strangely as the elevator ascends, blocking the CCTV and informing Evelyn that she is in grave danger. He hands Evelyn an earpiece and activates it, causing Evelyn to relive her life from childhood to the present. He gives her the option of going to the janitor's room or keeping her appointment with Derder, their auditor. She asks him, perplexed, why she would go to the janitor's room, but he refuses to explain. Instead, he writes some ridiculous instructions on paper and tells her to follow them while she is at her appointment. The auditor appears to be dissatisfied with the audit and asks numerous questions, but Wayman manages to find answers while Evelyn mulls over his strange behavior. She double-checks the instructions, which instruct her to put her shoes on the wrong feet and imagine herself in the janitor's closet. The action splits her consciousness into two parts, one in the auditor's office and one in the janitor's closet, where she meets another version of Wayman from another universe. Wayman, on the other hand, only tells her that she will know when the time comes to fight, and then he is pursued by another evil version of Derder, causing Evelyn to panic and confusing everyone in her main universe. Wayman suspects Evelyn is panicking because she has read the divorce statement he is about to issue, so he explains it to her, which only confuses Evelyn further. She then sees Derder approaching them, interprets it as a threat Wayman warned her about earlier, and punches Derder. Everyone in the office is shocked, and the incident is reported to the police. The other Wayman reappears, this time saving them with his martial arts skills. Meanwhile, in another universe where Evelyn and Wayman did not survive the janitor's closet attack, Evelyn is killed by Jabu Tapaki, a mysterious cult leader worshipped by the evil Derder. Jabu is disappointed that Evelyn is not the one she seeks, so she switches her consciousness to other versions of herself throughout the multiverse, eventually acquiring Joy's. Back in the IRS office, Evelyn is explained to by the Wayman from another universe that every slight variation in reality creates a branching universe. He comes from the Alphaverse, the first universe to make contact with others. Evelyn, now deceased, was a brilliant woman in that universe who discovered a way to temporarily link a person's consciousness to other versions of themselves, allowing access to their memory, emotions, and skills, a method known as verse jumping. Jabu Tapaki, an ambitious being with no real motives who is creating a sort of black hole, murdered her. He believes Evelyn from this universe can stop Jabu, so he risks everything to save her. They are once again confronted by the evil Derder, who performs verse jumping to gain the abilities of a pro wrestler and attacks them. Alpha Wayman attempts to verse jump, but Derder knocks his device off the table and traps him in a room, leaving Evelyn defenseless. Alpha Wayman informs Evelyn via phone that she must verse jump, imagining herself in a universe where she knows martial arts. Following that, she must complete an odd task in order to deliver her consciousness to that universe, this time telling Derder that she loves her. She tries, but is transported to another universe where she has finished Derder's appointment and is discussing divorce with Wayman in the car. After another failed attempt while being pursued by the evil Derder, she finds herself in a universe where she did not stay with Wayman, was almost robbed, and met a kung fu master who accepted her as an apprentice. As a result, she learned kung fu and is now well known as an action film actress. She defeats Derder with her kung fu skills and retreats to a meeting room with Wayman. She keeps seeing flashbacks to her life as a famous actress there, so Alpha Wayman tells her that verse jumping causes mental cracks. She must reseal those cracks in order to avoid becoming confused with other versions of herself. He also explains that Jabu Tapaki is their daughter from another universe, whose mind is fractured as a result of verse jump overload. Instead of dying like most people who are unable to withstand the overwhelming verse jump effect, her mind now experiences all universes and possibilities at the same time. and she is on the hunt for every Evelyn. Evelyn returns to the Kung Fu universe and meets Waymond, a wealthy businessman. Back in her universe, she and Waymond are apprehended by police, but Jabu Tupaki, who is possessed by joy, appears and defeats the cops by manipulating reality. Evelyn tries to use her Kung Fu skills against Jabu, but she is transported to a universe where everyone has floppy hot dogs on their hands instead of fingers, and Evelyn is dating Dare. Jabu shows Evelyn the black hole she's been creating, which is shaped like a bagel. It consumes everything that embodies Jabu's belief that nothing matters because the multiverses are perpetually chaotic. Gong Gong then hits her, his consciousness temporarily hijacked by his Alphaverse counterpart. Waymond realizes that this Evelyn is so bad at everything that she can learn any skill mastered by a more successful version of herself in other universes if she verse jumps. The multiversal travelers then appear to vanish, leaving Waymond and Joy in this universe perplexed as to what is going on. Evelyn duct tapes herself to a chair to keep Jabu from hurting her. She then tries to explain the verse jumping to them by saying that their physical bodies are controlled like puppets, as in the Ratatouille film, but she says Rakakuni instead. Alpha Gong Gong wishes to eliminate Joy from this universe, giving Jabu one less universe to explore. Evelyn refuses, instead attacking him in order to flee with her family. Alpha Gong Gong, enraged, instructs others in the Alphaverse to verse jump to that universe and hunt Evelyn down. Evelyn realizes that her ability to withstand many verse jumps will make her similar to Jabu Tupaki, but it will also make her powerful enough to defeat Jabu. So she keeps verse jumping in order to gain useful skills for fighting the Alphaverse minions, such as improved lung capacity from Singer Evelyn, deflecting weapons from Pizza Guy Evelyn, and mastering hand-to-hand combats and weapons from Chef Evelyn. Meanwhile, Alpha Waymond is killed in the Alphaverse after Jabu Tupaki discovers him. Evelyn is heartbroken when Alpha Waymond's consciousness truly vanishes, leaving her with her universe's Waymond. She then drifts off to the Kung Fu universe, where she is watching her film's premiere. Jumping to other universes, she discovers that her coworker, Chad, has a raccoon beneath his chef hat, the Rakakuni, just like in Ratatouille. She jumps verse once more, this time to a universe where there was no fight in the IRS office and Gong Gong's party is about to begin. Waymond tells her to deliver the paperwork and cookies to Dare. She goes out to meet Joy but soon realizes Jabu has reclaimed her. When Waymond appears, they fight but manage to act normally. Waymond reminds her to complete the IRS paperwork before leaving. Jabu drags Evelyn to the bagel shop and appears to want to throw her in. Evelyn begs Jabu to let her alone with Joy, but she refuses because they are the same person. Furthermore, she wishes to destroy herself by jumping into the bagel and is looking for a version of Evelyn who understands her to join her. Because their minds were fractured, they experience every version of themselves at the same time, never being fully present in any given moment. Evelyn is tempted to join Jabu, doing heinous things like stabbing Waymond and revealing the raccoon beneath Chad's chef hat in parallel universes. Back at Gong Gong's party, Dare arrives at the laundromat and authorizes police to seize the business because Evelyn never delivered the paperwork to the IRS. Waymond begs her to give them another chance to settle the matter next week, and Dare is persuaded and releases Evelyn. Meanwhile, Evelyn reminisces about her good times with Waymond, with a version of Waymond telling her that she needs to be kind. She returns to reality and regains hope, refusing Jabu and attempting to prevent her daughter from entering the bagel shop. Jabu's minions, on the other hand, try to stop her. Evelyn manipulates reality to counteract their attacks, such as turning bullets into harmless Google eyes. Remembering Waymond's message to be kind, she accesses Jabu's minions' memory and gives them something that makes them happy, such as their favorite perfume or a back massage. In the Chef universe, she makes amends with Chad by assisting him in reclaiming his raccoon. She finally introduces Becky to Gong Gong as Joy's girlfriend in the party universe. Joy, on the other hand, is still disappointed in her mother and decides to leave. Evelyn follows her to the parking lot, telling her that even if they disagree in many situations, they always look for each other in the end. She also prefers to be with Joy over being anywhere else. In another universe, Evelyn clutches Jabu as he approaches the bagel, eventually aided by Gong Gong, Waymond, and others. They both embrace and reconcile after that. Evelyn and her family's situation appears to have improved over time. Becky drives them to the IRS office for their scheduled audit. Evelyn and Waymond kiss briefly before entering the elevator. Dare appears to be satisfied with their tax returns, but Evelyn's mind wanders to other universes. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.